Chords. Often underestimated or seen as beginner stuff, but man, they are awesome and so versatile and so important. I put together a list of 5 great tricks to turn your everyday stuff into epic and sweet sounding goodness. Let's jump right in. Here's number 1. The power chord trick. Of course, the most legendary chord for guitar, the power chord, we can turn it into something beautiful. We probably all know something like this. C power chord, G power chord, E power chord. But we can make it so much more epic. Our typical power chord has a root, a C in this case, and the 5th. That's why we write down a power chord as a 5, like C5. That means a power chord because it's only the root and the 5th. But there's also the octave in the chord, in this case the C again, the G string fret 5. But that octave really doesn't do too much to the sound. See, there's not much of a difference. So let's remove it and put it back 1 string lower. Now we still have that same power chord, but we add the major 3rd to the chord. So this is basically just a major chord, and this sounds a little more melodic, but still has the oomph and the power of that power chord. And on D we do the same. So the power chord, let's remove our pinky, put it back over there, fret 7, string 2, to D. And on E we basically do the same, but this we turn it into a minor chord, so we use our middle finger on fret 8. So now we've got this. Awesome. And you can do that with every power chord you can think of. Experiment with major or minor or even inversions. Man, the options are basically limitless. So let's, yeah. Sweet. Next up, this trick is just great for playing open chords. So basically, you can use it all the time, right? Say we play a C and a D chord. Okay, that sounds pretty weak, right? Let's fatten it up a little bit. So there's one giant massive string that's unused right now, and that's the low E. So just smack that 5th as a bass note underneath that C chord. So instead of C, we move our ring finger to the G, put back our pinky, and boom. How fat does that sound, right? That low E string is a really big chunk of your sound potential, and if you miss out that string, so much goes missing, so why not just use it? Of course there's a place for everything, but oftentimes it sounds really cool. So why not do the same for D? So if you play this chord like C, if you just slide up 2 frets, wow, so good. But also with playing chords like F, C, and G, we can do the same. When you play the F chord compared to the G just sounds so much fatter because it uses all 6 strings. So let's play like this. C major 7th over G, that's just... It's just so lovely. It's a little more intricate sounding and, if you ask me, more nuanced. We carefully select our voicing to match the next or the previous chord, and we can take it even further. Sweet. Next up, when you discover this, you just can't go back. And it's the open string hack. So here's 4 chords. Well, you know it. But what if I told you we can turn it into this? Where are the tissues, you might ask? Just keep the top 2 strings open and let them ring out through every chord. And sometimes you gotta fiddle a little bit with your hands to make sure the shape fits the chord, but it's always very rewarding and it's really worth it. And the cool thing is, we just played in the key of E, chords B, C sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, F sharp minor. We can use the same technique in any key. So C is a very different key than E. So we can use like, oh yeah, that's the C major 7th again, great chord. And then to D, beautiful. Oh. And you don't even have to know the name of the chord, just listen and use your ears and it sounds great. Super versatile, and my tip is to try to use them in any key, any chord progression you like, and just listen if it sounds good. Trust your ears, they are super handy, these things. What you discover might just amaze you. Next up, the G shape trick. Okay, here is something that baffles me, and I see so few people do this that I wonder if the trick is just too hard or just people don't know about it. Let me explain. So here's 3 chords, just basic chords. D minor, C, and B flat. Nothing too special, and I think everyone will pick one of these voicings, just like the one I showed you. D minor, C, B flat, or over here. D minor, C, B flat. So there's always a gap in between the chords when shifting between the one or the other, because you just have to move all frets to a new position. So there's always a gap in between. But the way I like to do it, D minor. Did you hear that? One more time. Same chords. Listen to the master. Did you hear that? The switch from D minor to C was way more fluent like this. So this is basically the G shape of a C chord, coming from, yes, the G major chord. So this is what I played. If I shift it down to the G chord, this is basically what you play, and I move it up to C. So I'm playing the root note with my pinky, the C, and the index finger bars fret 5 on the D, G, and B string, and I omit the A and the high E string, and that's the chord. And sometimes it's so much fun to play it. Just a great way to change between these chords. So this way we can hold down position 5 with our index finger. So we create a nice and smooth transition. You see, it's just a super handy chord chip, and I seldomly see folks use it. So start playing it, add it to your vocabulary, and congratulations, you just became a better guitarist. Before we go to the last tip, let's just quickly talk about becoming a better guitar player. If what I've been explaining goes a little bit too fast for you or over your head, I suggest checking out Learn, Practice, Play. That's my guitar course I designed for beginners, starting from the basics. And If you want to know more and dive deeper into the matter, Next Level Playing, my second guitar course, will be right up your alley. It's a little more intermediate bass guitar course talking about chords, solos, techniques, theory and all kinds of interesting stuff. So I put my soul and my heart into both. So it would be amazing if you could check it out and support the channel that way. Anyway, thanks for the sponsor segment, Paul. Let's go to the last tip, number 5. So we talked about open strings, right? But let's combine it with open chords, because there's so much we can get out of these just simple basic open chord shapes. Just slide them up. Here's a few examples. So let's start with the D chord. That sounds great if you move it to position 5, for example. You see I also move to 7, just the D shape, move it up to 5, to 7, and 4 is also. It's just a great way to create some eerie or some strange sounding chords, because it's not super theoretically chosen, but you can just, again, trust your ears. It sounds good. Sounds like a Pink Floyd thing, right? So another great chord for this is A minor. You can go to position 6, for example. Sounds so fun. Or we can do the same with E, that's cool. Just grab your chord and slide it up C. So much fun. E minor, you can just pick everything. No. So now we gotta trust our ears and say, Paul, you're going too far, stop this. This is not a good chord. Oh, and one more thing I just thought of is like when you play a power chord, just a root and a fifth on the A string. Oh, that's a great one for sliding up and down as well. How good does this guitar sound? So to recap, basically every open chord, there's a cool spot where you can play it, and it just sounds great and moody and awesome for everyday use, and you just can't be too generous with it. Just throw it on everything. So if one of these tips might help you get a better guitar player, just pay back a little bit by just gently hitting that like button. It means a lot to me. It's free for you, so why not? And also, super thanks would be commenting or subscribing to the channel, and even beyond that there's my Patreon page which you can check out, and that's basically the end of this video. Have a wonderful day and I hope to see you next time. Cheers!